Oh, greetings, everyone. Hope you had a great week. So I just wanted to kind of provide a little bit of a summary from week 6 and a couple things to look for in week 7. Um, Actually, not really things to look for in week 7, but more of administrative sorts of things, just kind of reminders and whatnot. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the little clip on the Piaget's conservation tasks and the different learners that were posed with different tasks at different stages of development. And I think I asked you to specifically focus in on the quarter task, where the student had 2 rows of quarters and asked which one had more. So I think that particular segment of the clip was really interesting to think of, not just in terms of Piagetian understanding and development, but also Vygotskian understanding as well. So I thought it was interesting, and maybe you noticed this too. So, when the 2 rows of quarters were spaced evenly, and the student was asked, which had more, the student, I thought it was interesting. She counted them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when the quarters were spaced differently, she was posed the same question, and without counting, she, instantly said that the row where the quarters were spaced out more had more quarters. So, I think Vygotsky would just think about that a little bit differently. So in terms of, her actual development, that first task said something, but, I think he would ask the question, well, what if you give this student a little bit of support? Could she then do this task? And I think that support would maybe come in the form of just simply asking, well, or prompting, I guess in this case, well, why don't you count them and see? And she didn't, so we don't know what her response would have been, but it very easily could have been that she counted them and then had this realization that, actually they are the same. And, in that sense, she is absolutely operating within what Vygotsky would call the zone of proximal development, right? She can't do it on her own, but can do it with a little bit of prompting. But again, we don't know. It could easily have been the case that she counts them and it doesn't matter. She still says that row has more, in which case, she's not actually operating within the zone of proximal development, because that little bit of assistance doesn't make a difference, right? She's actually operating outside or beyond the zone of proximal development. So I did just want to kind of provide my take on that clip. And also I wanted to comment on, the question that we had regarding scaffolding. And I think a lot of you get scaffolding, but I did just want to make a couple of distinctions. So, you'll get from the I can't pronounce it either. I know a couple of you struggled with this, Veronikina article, where she questions this idea of scaffolding, and it's actually not a concept that Vygotsky himself coined. It was something that was coined, or the term came quite after. Long after his death. I think it was coined in the 70s or sometime in the 70s by Woods. But the point is that scaffolding is more than just simply showing the student something, right? So, and I think that in essence, scaffolding is maybe best thought of in terms of providing the student with tools, and so cognitive tools. And so I think that really some of the best scaffolding comes in forms of questions, right? So again, with that clip with the student, just simply thinking in terms of well, did you count them? Or let's try counting them. How about you count them? I guess those aren't all questions other than did you, but what you're doing is you're providing the student, and especially over time, right? So that's not necessarily a tool, like even thinking about counting them as a strategy is probably not something that that student has, but over time the student kind of internalizes that, and that tool, that way of thinking, becomes their own. It becomes internalized. So I think that's maybe a really good way to think about scaffolding. If you have any questions about that, as always, feel free to drop me a line, and then maybe or drop a line in the water cooler, or one of the other discussion boards as well. And then I just wanted to note a couple deadlines, and I don't have them internalized myself, so I've got to look at the syllabus. But we do have a couple coming up, so I did just kind of want to remind you. Most specifically, the learning project. It's not due this week, but it is due next week. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. Now's a really good time to start working on that if you haven't started yet. At the end of this week, you will have been exposed to all the different theories of learning that we'll cover in this course. And then also I had at least one question about the exam, and I apologize to the students. I will respond by the end of the day, but I have yet to construct the exam, but I did just kind of want to let you guys know where my thinking is at right now. So the exam is worth a total of, I believe it's 50 points. Yes, 50 points. Probably what it will look like will be about 12 short essay questions. You will be able to pick 10 of those 12, and you will have about probably 2 hours to respond to those. So, and again, I have to figure out exactly how to do this, but probably what it will be is you'll be able to open up the exam in Brightspace, and then the exam will close in 2 hours. So that's about all I know about it right now. I do hope to work on it over this weekend and then throughout early next week. And once I have a good idea of what the exam is going to entail, I'll try to give you as much information to prepare for it as possible. But we're not at that point quite yet, and I apologize for that. As you know, because I think I've said it several times, this is the first time I've actually taught this course, so I'm still I don't have everything pre-arranged or pre-ready, I guess. But anyway, again, as always, drop me a line if you have any questions, and have a wonderful week.